Welcome to Bias Bash. I'm Lauren Green. As lawmakers on Capitol Hill rage over VA Secretary Bob McDonnell's comments comparing hospital wait times to those of Disneyland, a VA whistleblower in Wisconsin says his claims of a culture of, quote, neglect and misconduct were deemed not fit to print in the local paper. Ryan Honnell says he submitted an op-ed that was highly critical of the VA to the Milwaukee Journal-Sentinel. But the newspaper refused to print the piece, citing a lack of resources to fact-check the story. Talk Media News Bureau Chief and Fox News contributor Ellen Ratner senses some media bias possibly at play here. Is that right, Ellen?
For sure. First of all, the Milwaukee Journal does actually have, they handle PolitiFact Wisconsin. So why didn't they have the resources to fact-check his concerns, which were that this physician, this psychiatrist, prescribed an undue amount of narcotics to patients, that there was waiting lines, that mentally ill patients were not taken care of. And according to the author, Ron Honnell, he was also a West Point graduate. Now, I've tried to check that out. I haven't been able to check it out. But I believe him that he is a West Point graduate. And you don't exactly treat a West Point graduate like they don't know what they're doing.
Yeah, but why do you think they declined to print his op-ed?
I am not sure. I mean, obviously, it shows the VA locally in a very bad light. It also shows that there are various members of Congress or the Senate who have not necessarily been doing their job in terms of follow-up. There was some question as to whether one of the senators, I think it was Tammy Duckworth, maybe I'm wrong about that, but one of the senators there had not followed through, even though they had gotten a report of what he was doing. So I think that there are some real questions about why they didn't follow up.
Now, what do you think about the Milwaukee Journal-Sentinel editor? He's saying that this piece was more investigative journalism rather than an op-ed, and that's why he wanted to do the fact-checking.
I read the piece, and I thought, yes, it had some investigative journalism in it, but it was an op-ed about why the VA wasn't doing their job.
So, I mean, is it kind of one of those things where an editor just doesn't want to assign the personnel to fact-check a story, even though it's juicy enough? I mean, do you think that if it had been some other kind of attack on maybe perhaps a Republican administration, office, do you think he would have printed the story?
Maybe. You know, it could be that, for sure, that it was a Democratic administration and he may have a Democratic bias. But, you know, if you look at the Boston Globe Spotlight team, they didn't initially look at things until things hit them in the head. And maybe this is that kind of article that the Wisconsin paper should have paid more attention to, because it is, in my view, and what am I? I'm just a Washington journalist after all. It is something that should have been really looked at. And to say that they don't have the resources to fact-check, give me a break.
Yeah, well, people can read it in rightwisconsin.com, because the Journal refused to print it, but you can read it online at rightwisconsin.com, and people can make up their own minds. Thanks so much, Ellen.
Thank you.
And if you want to hear more media analysis on the week's top headlines, catch Media Buzz with Howard Kurtz, Sundays at 11 a.m. Eastern, and again at 5 p.m. Eastern on the Fox News Channel. I'm Lauren Green, and thanks for watching.